Today we'll discuss second language acquisition, which is closely tied with applied linguistics as well as language teaching. Let's begin with some basic definitions. What is a second language? A second language may be any other language which is not a speaker or learner's native or mother tongue. It also includes the languages of wider communication or foreign languages taught in various contexts of the world. What is second language acquisition? Second language acquisition may have two interpretations. First, generally speaking, it involves the learning of a second language. More specifically, it includes the theory of the process of learning a second language, and it may involve some cognitive or subconscious processes which are enlightened by various theories in the field. Some researchers distinguish it from second language learning, which is more oriented towards formal settings of learning, whereas second language acquisition is assumed to be relying more on informal or natural settings. Let's see what other researchers say about it in the coming slides. Second language acquisition also talks about the scientific discipline, which focuses on investigating the process and the theories of second language acquisition. And we see this is relatively a new field, but there is a continuous progress in the area, and we find we have moved from some descriptive knowledge to actual or empirical research, which is now trying to investigate various theories directly or indirectly. The field of second language acquisition is not that old. Most of the work in this field, or the rigorous work, was done in last 50 to 60 years. And we're still far from developing a complete theory of second language acquisition, but we're still on the route to reach some agreeable conclusions in this field. Scope of SLA is very wide. It includes informal teaching or informal learning of the language, as well as the formal learning of the language, according to many people who are writing in this area. And it also involves the mixture of both informal and formal writings or the context of learning. Various researchers and the writers in the field have different opinions about these questions, but most of them would agree that both formal and informal settings of learning or the processes of learning are in the scope of second language acquisition. Few of the basic questions which are dealt by second language acquisition involve: what is there which is acquired by the learner of a second language? How does the learner acquire the knowledge of a language? And why some learners are more successful than others? These are no simple questions, and they do not involve simple answers as well. Researchers continuously answering these questions based on their researches, studies, and assumptions, and we are getting a lot of knowledge being produced in this way. Second language acquisition also looks into the possibility of any rules of learning. Are there any rules of learning a second language on the fashion of learning or acquiring of the first language? And if there are any rules, do these rules vary according to individuals or the context? That means that do the rules of learning change based on the change of individuals who are learning a language or the context in which these languages are being learned? Second language acquisition also is related to other disciplines as well. It is the core area of linguistics, but it is also related to psychology, and sociolinguistics, as well as neurolinguistics. We could see that linguists focus on the various characteristics of language that are being learned. It also focuses on the linguistic competence and performance of the learners, whereas psychology looks into the cognitive or mental processes which are in question about the learning a second language. Sociolinguistics focuses on various learners' attributes, sociocultural attributes, which may hinder or facilitate the learning. Some social psychologists also look into some collective attributes or group-related phenomena which may be related to the acquisition. Applied linguistics, which is our area of study, takes benefit from this area in order to develop some theories for teaching a language. And many people believe that second language acquisition and its teaching are closely related to each other.